Hello again, everyone. This is Chris Ostrowski with Infinite Skills, and in this lesson we're going to take a look at some of the page rendering functionality that's built into Oracle Application Express. As kind of a summary to all of the lessons that we've done up to this point, I'm going to walk through the entire process of creating a new application from scratch. So I log into my Application Express environment, choose Application Builder. I'm going to create a new application. I can build a new application based on database tables, web sheets, or packaged applications. I'm going to choose database, and I'm going to create this new application called Movie Tracker. I'm using the movie schema as my schema that's going to hold all my database objects. I'm going to include a home page, and under user interface, I can either choose desktop or a mobile interface. Again, I'm not locked into these decisions. I can go back at any time and change them around. The wizard is just there to help you create your application quickly. I can skip over all of the other pages in the wizard if I wanted to just by clicking Create Application, but I'm going to walk through each step just as a refresher course. I can add a page as part of my application creation process. Again, I don't have to do it here if I don't want to. I can go in later on and create new pages that are part of my application, but as part of the wizard, I can add a page up front. So I'm going to add a report and a form. I'm going to base it on the movie table, say add page, and not only do I get one page added, I actually get two pages added, one for the report and one for the form. Shared applications are things like lists of values and web service references. I don't have any for this application, so I'm going to just skip over that. I can change the authentication scheme, the tab, the date format, the timestamp format. For this application, I don't need to do any of those, so I'm just going to take the defaults and go to the next. The next page in the wizard gives me a chance to pick which user interface I'd like to use. I'm going to leave it with productivity applications here and click next. I get a summary page at the end of the wizard. Once I select create application, all of the components that make up the application are generated for me automatically. We want to look at the different page rendering options that go along with the pages inside your application. So I'm going to select one of these pages. I'm going to take a look at this DML form. So if I click on movie, I'm taken to this page where I can see all the different components that are on this page. And here's where I can go through and add or edit or modify the components that are on my page. Depending on what view you're more comfortable with, the order of information on this page will be radically different. If you hover your mouse over these two icons, you'll see that you can view the page and the components that are on this page in either tree view or component view. I'm going to minimize each one of these little plus signs here and just show you the differences between the two ways of displaying information. Understand that either way that you edit your page, either using the component view or the tree view, will have the exact same effect on your page. It's all a matter of what you're more comfortable with as a developer. In the tree view, when we look at the page rendering column, we see all of the different ways that you can edit your existing page based on the activities that happen to the page as it gets rendered. So you can go in and say, okay, I want to add some code before the header is displayed, after the header is displayed, before the regions are displayed, the actual regions themselves, after the regions, before the footer, after the footer, or any dynamic actions that happen on the page. So you can see that if you look at all of the components in the tree view, they're organized by how they're executed on the page. If you look at the component view, we have the exact same pieces of information, but they're organized differently. They're not organized in order of how they're rendered on the page. They're ordered by component. So if I go back here into the way the page is rendered by looking at the tree view, I can go into before header and I can create a branch, a computation, or a process. After the header, I can do a computation, a process, or another region. Before the region, I can define a computation or a process. So you can see how they're organized by when they're actually generated and displayed on the page. In component view, I don't have any of that information. They're organized by components. So you can see here's computations and processes. So if I go in the component view and I want to create a new computation, I simply select a different type of computation that I want to create. And you can see the computation point here is where I define exactly where that particular component is going to be executed, before header, after footer, after submit. Let me cancel out of that and go back into the tree view. And then if I go into after footer and let's say I want to generate a computation there, the wizard looks exactly the same. The only difference is that when I get to the page where I select my computation point, it's already filled in for me. It knows that I selected this particular computation point as after footer. So it automatically filled that in for me. I can certainly change that around and say, no, I really didn't want it there. I really wanted it before footer. That's the only difference. And it really comes down to what you're more comfortable with. Are you more comfortable seeing the information displayed like this, where the actual piece of code you're going to execute is defined in your page? Or are you more comfortable with this, seeing all of the different pieces that are out there?